All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with my good friend Beast Mode. Shout out to Beast Mode. How you doing,
Hi.
sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I brought you on because you just recently held an online major, the BCS Edison World Championship Qualifier 1. As you guys can see here, we have top 16 deck list. It was 100 players in the class 1, who's the winner of RBET Berlin a couple weeks ago, which is the biggest Edison tournament this year. That guy is a monster, apparently, because, you know, he did that with Black Wings undefeated, and now he won your event here. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're actually here to talk about something that you decided to do from a TO standpoint, since you were the streamer and the TO of this whole thing. This is hosted in the Beast Mode server. If you guys are not in that server, there's going to be a link in the description. That server is the server that also hosts War League every couple months. War League is a super competitive Edison environment. Some would say even too competitive. Also a different story for another day. But you decided to make this tournament the first online tournament, at least that I know of, that is adopting Konami's new time rules, which is 50 minutes, right? The round is 50 minutes. And then when time is called, both players get a match loss. And I want to say this to preface this, a whole video that we're about to just do a little discussion about. I think that these time rules are genuinely better than the time rules before it that were end of phase. The reason being, there is no benefit. I won't say there's no incentive, but there is no benefit for you to slow play in the new time rules. There's no benefit to it. You and your opponent both get a full round. You both lose the entire round, to be clear. So incentive is different than benefit, obviously, because incentive is like, an incentive could be you're just spiteful and you want to go into time with your opponent so that you guys both lose. Sure, that can absolutely happen. I'm not saying that there are not spiteful people in the world. We're Yu-Gi-Oh players. Some people are very spiteful, but I think most people are just rational. Like, I still do think they're more rational people than not. So I think the time rules are overall a benefit because there's no more of this like stall for time thing where you benefit from stalling. Like, it is in your best interest to play slower if you win game 1 under the old time rules. Like, if you win game 1, the best your opponent can hope for now is a draw, or they just lose the match. Like, they just lose the match. I mean, that's like the best. You can't really lose if you lose game 1 with the old time rules if you just start playing extremely slow after winning game 1. And that was a big problem that modern Yu-Gi-Oh faced. We didn't really have this problem at Edison, I will say. Modern players were siding cards for time. They were burning their opponent or gaining life. They would wait until the time got down to like 5 minutes. They would side deck and then go first, burn the opponent for game, gain life points for game, and there's nothing they could do. And it's like, all right, GG, bro. Like, that's, you know, and a lot of people won like that. It was very toxic. I hated it. I'm glad that it never was really a thing in Edison that became widespread or anything. But you decided to use the new time rules, the updated ones. And so my question is, what do you think about being the guinea pig for running the first online event with those time rules?
So I'll quickly explain why I decided to go with the new policy. So we're kind of Edison World League and Format Library kind of affiliated. We share invites essentially. So I wanted to host a tournament. There wasn't much going on at the time. Since then, there's been a few additional tournaments that are going on, especially yours, November 2nd.
November 8th coming up. Yep.
November 8th. There we go, November 8th. Deck Devastators next week on top of that.
Yep.
So some events have since been sprung up. But so I reached out and they said, Jazz essentially said, look, you got to go by Edison rules, but in terms of policy, you can run the event based on whatever policy you choose. I said, okay. So I thought to myself, I said, we need to get this event done in one day.
Yep.
I cannot be here. I have things going on. I have stuff on Sunday. So what's the best way to do this? Now, I've played in quite a few online events. I know there's quite a few players that tend to go to time online for whatever reason.
Yep.
And I said, so there's an argument where people like, and I think it was what, 45-minute round? Is it 40 minutes and 4 turns?
So the original time rules back in 2010, I'm just going to give some context for people who don't know. Back in 2010, actual Edison, the original time rules were 40 minutes. And then both players get 2 turns each, starting from the current turn. So 0, 1, 2, 3. That's the age, like, accurate time rules for Edison. Then what we've been playing though for the last several years is Konami's updated time rules, which are time is called 45 minutes, end of phase. So if you're in your draw phase or your main phase, you cannot get to battle phase. Even if you have blatant game on board and your opponent has no cards, open field, everything, you just lose if you're lower.
Okay, so I remember the 4 turns. I think that's probably better for players that are like not really trying to go to time, like actually trying to play the game and play the game to the best of their abilities. I think that is like the best case. The problem is 40 minutes. Those 4 turns can take anywhere between 2 minutes to even 30 minutes, depending on the players, because they're not timed now.
Yep.
So now
And
you're
they're
talking
the most crucial turns of the entire game now,
correct.
too.
'Cause
There's
now
more
you have
weight.
you can't lose the game. You're trying to make sure you stare at 2 cards for 10 minutes trying to figure out how to win the game, right?
Yep.
So me thinking that, I said, so these rounds are going to be at least an hour now, and there's going to be how many more players are going to be in time? So let's just say at the end of a 100 player tournament, whatever, 50 matches, how many would you say go to time? 5 maybe with old time rules, 6, 7?
Yeah, honestly, I would say that with 40 minutes, because 40 minutes is, obviously
40
shorter.
minutes.
40 minutes, I think that you're going to have at least 5 tables per round that go into time. I'm not even kidding because, at least the frog players, especially, like the deck just takes a long time to execute your combos, play a pot of avarice, resolve it, all that nonsense. Like some of the decks just take longer than others to do their thing.
Agreed.
And people like to think naturally online because they're just sitting in their bedroom under the comfort of, no, I didn't travel, I didn't pay anything to be here. It's a free tournament, right?
Yep.
But I think at least 5 tables, which is 10 players, so 5 tables, so that's 2 per table. I think at least 5. It only takes 1 though. What people have to understand
to hold up a whole round.
It only takes 1 table. It could be one. It could be one guy who goes the time every round. He could literally make an entire tournament last hours longer because of just him being in the tournament and going into time almost every round. He could derail the entire thing, and everybody else could be like done in 35 minutes.
So that was my concern. So first off, we didn't have the staff to try to deal with 5, potential matches every round.
Yep.
There's 3 of us and 1 head judge and 2 other people dealing with matches. So, and that's probably going to be another 30 minutes per round. So you're looking at least an hour per round. 40-minute round turns to an hour, at least.
I agree. I played during the time when it was 40 minutes, and we never had that next round go up within an hour, ever. Ever in my life of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For over 10 years, have I seen a round when it was 40 minutes, 0, 1, 2, 3. I've never in my life had a round go less than an hour, factually.
So there you go. So I said to myself, I think that the new time rule will incentivize players to at least play faster.
Yep.
I would believe that there would be far less players at the end of every round going into time because nobody wants to do that.
Yep.
And I was right. So that's the reason why I went with the policy. They were mainly because I wasn't trying to screw players over. That's not what I want to do at all. But I need to be able to finish an event in the 1-day span with the staff that we had. And Konami has a policy that's very clear. We posted it multiple times. So that's why I decided to go with that for the event.
Yep.
Policy for
and I back you because I wanted to do this as well. The 50-minute thing where you just end of time is called and both players lose the match. I think that's actually, like I said, I know some people are sour about it. Some people had a knee-jerk reaction when that first got announced months ago. Funny thing is, on this podcast, on this channel, we had Scott Page come on years ago, and we did a 3-hour episode with Scott Page, and he said his time rules were 60-minute rounds and both players lose. Konami literally adopted that years later in 2025. They just made it 50 minutes, but he was like 60 minutes, no arguing. If you can't finish a match of Yu-Gi-Oh! In an hour, no excuses. I don't want to hear any like, oh, he was slow playing all like, I don't want to hear it. Sign a slip. If you don't want to sign a slip, you're DQ, you're out the tournament. Like, just sign a slip, no talking. Like, we're done. And I love that idea because honestly, if you cannot finish a match in 60 minutes, this is Scott Page's. That's crazy. Like, that's just crazy. So
like 40 minutes, I get it. Like, I've been to time.
Same.
I'm sure you've been to time. So, I'm not many times. I can count on probably one hand, and I know we've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Not many times. And you play a complicated deck. I tend to play a complicated deck, and that was 40 minutes. So it's definitely possible. And I'm not a great player, so maybe that's probably why I don't think enough.
Believe that.
But
you have too many tops to say you're not a great player. But anyway. So I think the new time rules are actually good for the overall game, but they were meant for specifically in real life, right? That's not a secret either. Konami they don't really do online events like that. They're meant for YCSs, for regionals, things like that, because Konami is paying the judges hourly. So just to give you guys like a reason why they even want to have rounds go faster, one, they added extra rounds to every tournament. They added 3 more rounds to tournaments now, but they make it where every tournament is cut the top 8. So just so you guys understand like why Konami would do something like where 2 players lose the game, because no one wants to just like go in a round and you both lose. There's no happy person in that scenario, right? But from Konami's standpoint, from a business standpoint, from what they're trying to accomplish here, they want you guys to play 15 rounds of Swiss, 50 minutes. Just if you can't finish, continue on to the next round. What you guys both lose, play faster next time, whatever. And then they cut the top 8, and this will make it where when they rent out a convention center, which is very expensive, especially if you go over, they don't have that issue anymore because they're finishing so fast because there's really no conversation. Once it hits 50 minutes, all of the arguing, Konami is not like you and me, we're TOs, we're nice people, we're online. You know, we don't want to really ruffle any feathers if we don't have to. Konami doesn't give a fuck because they are a $1 billion corporation. And they don't need just you, one person, really don't matter in the grand scheme of things to them. So like if
you'll be back at the next event anyway.
That too. You'll complain, you'll make a video about it, you'll talk to somebody, but like you'll be back at the next event, right? They don't really care. So when I'm saying that to say, people at Konami events, like there's no arguing. When the judge comes over and he says, all right guys, sign a slip, like that's it, and you start going back and forth, whoa. None of this. You had 50 minutes to call a judge over and you didn't do it. And that's kind of my logic too with the whole, oh, he was slow playing at the end. I hate when people try to wait until the very last minute to then say he was slow playing. Well, then why didn't you call the judge when he was slow playing? Like
nobody called the judge at all.
Yeah,
during our event.
You got to 47 minutes and then you wanted to call the judge and say, my opponent is trying to stall or he's slow playing at 47 minutes. So you mean to tell me the other 47 minutes he was playing at a rapid pace or he's playing at a decent pace, and all of a sudden, and that's kind of the thing, like, you have to put the onus on the players. You have to make players responsible. I will say online, so you implemented this for an online tournament.
Yeah.
My fear is obvious. There's lag with DB. DB is not a reliable platform. There's nothing we can do about it. It's the best we have. There is no other platform as good as DB. This is a fact. I'm sorry. I know that there are other ones out there, and shout out to y'all. And I've used them. I've tried them. Some of them are automated. Some of them do different things. None of them are as good as DB, period. That's just full stop. None of them are as good as DB. DB is the best platform to play Yu-Gi-Oh on. So you have that is one of the problems, that DB is not a reliable thing though, because we've been on it. Sometimes you're clicking on your cards, you're clicking on shuffle, you're clicking on attack. It's not even loading. It's not doing anything. Your opponent hasn't made a move in literally a minute, and you're wondering if they're literally not doing anything on purpose, or are they just lagged out? So then you go to click the shuffle button to shuffle your hand and it doesn't do it. You're like, oh, he's lagged out too. So now you're just sitting there staring at each other. Time is still passing in the round because the TO doesn't know that. The clock doesn't know that. You guys couldn't play for the last 2 minutes because there was a whole issue with DB. That's one of the main problems, is like DB has inherent issues that lead to people going into time when they probably wouldn't have if they were playing in person.
Yeah, so we did experience that. During one round, there was like a connection issue that didn't connect to the match. They had a disconnect during the match, and we ended up figuring out logs and other people watching the match, and we granted like a 7-minute extension.
Yep.
And despite the 7-minute extension, they went to time anyway, and like we had to give a double game loss. So
yep.
What I have thought, and I know you're not asking me exactly how to fix this, but I think it still can be implemented online. It is a little bit trickier, but after running this event, I would suggest maybe you don't start the timer for like 2 minutes or something, just to get people, because the big thing is when matches start. Because when you're at an in-person event, everyone sits down, people are already shuffling, doing whatever, time starts rolling, and boom, everyone plays. Whereas online, people are trying to find their opponent, they don't know where they are, they're running to the bathroom. So you might need to like give a few minute leeway. But then also, if you give too much time, then you're just extending the length of the tournament. So maybe a couple minutes. I don't know what number it would be, but you can figure it out.
2 to 3 minutes. That's a good suggestion though. That's genuinely good feedback, I think. The other thing that could happen, and I have like a little list of things that with online, right? Communication through text only. So when you're playing in an online tournament, the only way you can communicate with your opponent, if you're not in a Discord call with them, and I have done it before. One guy used to message me. We played each other in tournament multiple times, and he would message me when we got paired up and say, do you want to just jump on a Discord call to make it easier? And I was like, you know what? It's a little weird because we don't know each other. But I was like, it's really no different than playing a random guy at a regional or YCS or whatever, right? So I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's hop on a Discord call. We actually played on a Discord call, which made communication easier. Most people play on typing, is this okay? Is summon good? Summon negated? Question mark. Is that fine? Substitute effect fine? Dark arm F, prio question mark. There's a lot of communicating that goes through text, which is way slower than just speaking naturally. Like typing is just slower. Waiting for your opponent to type back. People are from different countries. English is not everyone's first language. This is another thing. There's a lot of Europeans who love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, and I understand they don't get as many events as we do in the US. So you run into people who are in a different time zone, who English is not their first language. That's another thing that can happen. I'm just talking about all the possibilities of things that could cause these time rules to be harder to apply to an online environment. Right? Because in person, again, your opponent's right in front of you. You can see that they're not lagging out. You can say to them like, hey, could you speed up a little bit? It's been like a minute. You haven't done anything. You're thinking on Treeborn's position and it's 30 seconds have passed. Like, come on.
That happens online though. We see it all the time.
Exactly.
See it all the time.
But then they go lag, So it's like,
yeah.
And then showing up late. again, showing up late is something that can happen in person too. People show up late, they run. You see a guy running across the room, he sits down real quick, and they're like, 2 minutes have already passed. And in real life, you get a game loss, I think, after 3 minutes, and then a match loss after 10. I think that's how it goes.
We did 5 and 10. 5 minutes, 10 minutes match loss. That's it.
For online, I think
that's what it is, but
I think that's great for online. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, I do think that these rules could apply. How does the bot deal with a double loss, though? That's the one thing I was wondering about.
So that did cost. So let me quickly say, we had a 7-round Swiss tournament.
Yep.
With
it was 7.
Unlimited.
Okay.
It was 7 rounds. Yep. And it was top 8. So 3 more matches in top cut. So 10 rounds total. Yep. Those top 8 matches were not timed. You can't do that in top 8. That's Konami policy. It's untimed.
Oh, perfect.
So we had 10 rounds, and we finished the tournament in about 7.5 hours.
That's amazing.
And so we average out 48 minutes per round with a couple hiccups. Like, it took us a few minutes to get round 1 up. You know what I mean? Just get everyone situated.
Yeah,
and then we had and then we had the 1 or 2 debacle. Like, it was mainly the bot trying to figure out how to report the double loss. So I think we probably could have done it in 7-ish hours.
Yeah.
But 48 minutes around on average. There's no way that you're going to host a tournament with 2 extra turns per person, or 4 turns at the end, whatever, 0, 1, 2, 3, in 48 minutes around. There's just no way.
No, 10 hours, easy. I would bet money it would be a 10-hour tournament if you gave people that much more room, where you give them 2 turns. Because again, 2 turns on time each. You have a Froggo TK deck at the table, or you have like, it doesn't even matter what deck it is. I don't want to put this on like any particular deck, because I've seen Value players and Blackwing players also just take fucking forever.
No, absolutely. You're right. It doesn't matter what they're playing. Some people, and I don't want to take away from players playing at extremely high level, but you also, part of playing the game is being able to navigate turns efficiently.
Yeah. Like,
if you can sit there and stare at cards for 25 minutes, then most of us are going to be able to find the lethal line. If we can sit there and do that.
That's true.
You have to be able to do it quickly. And I'll tell you, there's some of the best players on the planet. 10 foot, he'll tell you straight out. That man takes forever, and he'll tell you. I'm not saying anything.
He's gotten better in the last year, though. He has. I talked to him about this at Maryland last year, at RBT Maryland. I said to him, "You know what your problem is as a player? You just play too slow. You're actually a good player, but you're too slow to ever." I was like, "You're too slow to ever top in person." And at that time, he couldn't top in person because he kept going into time, basically. And now he got better at it.
Because he's so calculated that he's figuring out but you cannot do that. Like, you have to be able to net. And I played one of the complicated, like, I misplay, miss lines, but you have to play at a reasonable pace, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. The thing is, when people play on DB, and this is what kind of happens, you get used to playing at the slowest possible pace, because on DB ladder, there's no time, right? You could have a 75-minute match. People get kind of accustomed to these super long, thought out, perfect play matches, and they end up number 1 on ladder, and they're bragging to everybody how they're number 1 on ladder. Right? They're memeing, they're bragging, and they're like, I'm number 1 on ladder. They go into a tournament and they go into time every round. And it's like, well, bro, now I kind of see how you're number 1 on ladder. You take literally an hour plus to play a single set every single time. Like, of course you're going to be number 1 on ladder. You're playing basically perfect.
Figure it out.
Yeah, and these are good players too. Like, they're not bad players. But if you give any good player infinite time, you are going to probably figure out the correct play every turn. But it's like, who wants to sit there for that?
No, well, that's why I don't even play ranked, because I ain't got time for that. I don't care about fake internet points. I'm not going to waste an hour of my time to sit there and try to find the most optimal play. I just want to slam some cards some nights. That's it.
Yeah, me and you are the same in that regard. Like, if I travel to an event, sure, I want to do well. I want to, do my thing. But if I'm playing on DB ladder, when I'm making these videos and stuff like that, Master Disaster, teach me how to cook.
Just playing.
Yeah, like, we're not about to sit there for 20 minutes. I'll explain to the camera because we have to do that. But when you're playing in a tournament online, like, you do have to play a bit faster than you do on DB ranked. And I think some people just don't separate the two, as like, this is not DB ranked. Even though I know you want to win, I know you want to do well, I know you want the top and everything, the cool points, but you do have to play faster. And if it becomes the norm, now, I'm not saying it's going to become the norm, but if it became the norm that the rounds were 50 minutes or whatever and double loss, in theory, that should speed up everyone's natural play. That's just what's supposed to happen. It's like survival of the fittest, right? It's like, you have to.
But I will tell you, I was getting like tilted on stream. You probably could see it. I'm watching a match. There's 2 minutes left. The bot's firing off, 2 minutes, whatever. And you see people and they got 3 cards and they're still, I get it, they're trying to make the most optimal play.
Yep.
The reality is, if you don't make a play right now, you lose anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, make a play. What are you doing? You don't have time to sit here and think about this draw, that draw. You literally have to play a card right now. And people still did not get it. Like,
that's so interesting.
I don't know.
It's the beginning of it.
I was watching it.
I'll cut them some slack. It's the very beginning of this thing. You are the first person to guinea pig this idea that Konami came up with. And I was wondering how it goes in real life. And I'll probably bring somebody on like Chris LeBlanc or Jesse Cotton or one of those to talk about that. But for you being the first person to do an online major, this is 100 people, this is an online major for Edison. The first person to do it with the new time rules is so interesting to me because I was afraid to do it just because of the lag, the communication, showing up late. You know, I couldn't find my opponent. Oh, I was smoking a cigarette, like just all the nonsense. Can we get an extension? My daughter's crying in the back. It's like so many things. And on my Tuesday night casual tournaments, I let people get away with, you know, things here and there because it's a Tuesday. I'm just trying to do a Tuesday night stream. It's not a big deal. It's not a major. It's just a local. It's supposed to have the vibe of a local. So I'm a little bit more lenient, right? Within reason.
Yeah.
But once you start talking about like these tournaments with 100 people, you can't have people just doing whatever they want, holding up the whole thing. And I get it.
Well, so it's hard sometimes because even I felt bad, like being a player, playing at some of the highest level times, like when you see the field and you're like, they're going to win right now. It's like right now they're about to win. And then time's called. You feel like an ass. You're like,
right.
Like next turn they're gonna win.
Yep.
But the reality is when you're like at a YCS and you're a head judge and like you don't like you're working, it's business, right?
Yeah.
And you just you're like completely separated from the game where it doesn't matter. You're just like sign the slip, move on.
Yep.
So I feel bad, and I'll be honest. And like I said, rounds on average for the whole event, 48 minutes. We had, I believe, 3 double losses. It might have been 4, 3 or 4
The
double
whole
losses.
tournament?
The whole tournament.
Well, that's
that was
really
it.
good.
So people were moving. Let me tell you something. And the reason why the rounds are even faster is because of the pressure that some people are feeling. There were rounds that were done so quick, like it was like next round, fire it off. Like
Evolution was Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember
He was moving.
Yeah. He would come in, like you would be streaming, you would put the round up, the next round would go up or whatever. He would leave the chat. And then within like 20 minutes, which is really fast in my opinion, he's back. And I'm like, what the fuck happened just now? He's like,
he was cleaning up.
Yeah.
He was cleaning up.
He topped this event, right? Like, isn't he in the...
He did. Yeah, he did top. He did top.
Yeah.
Majority of people did not actually go into time. We did give one extension because there was like
a whole thing.
A log of some sort. There was a thing. And so you got to be like, I still got to be human, right? I'm trying to be human. But if you wanted to be robotic, like you literally could have had just move on.
Yeah.
In terms of the bot dealing with double loss, I believe we did have to reach out to Jazz and like try to figure that out. And I don't remember exactly what Evolution ended up doing you could actually reach out to him. I did not deal with any of that stuff. Mainly like, I know you probably the same way, like stream and then everybody else like
yes.
Head judge does head judge.
Yeah,
and
I can't
whatever.
do like even for my last 1K I had a head judge. Like I had someone be the head judge because I just can't do both. If I'm trying to stream the event and be the entertainment, it's impossible. So I do need somebody else to just like take the reins and do that part, which is nice that there are people in the community who are willing to help out with that. Also, if you're a judge, please reach out to me and let me know. Like if you're a judge and you're in Discord and you wouldn't mind being a judge for the IMNerd tournaments, because we do need more of that.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind having that type of thing in the server, but we do have a couple of people who do judge and help us out. But then at the end of the day, right, it's my server, so final say is me, right? Like if it comes down to where a judge just cannot, the two players, they're going at each other, they're arguing, they're cursing, they're like, this is ridiculous, like I feel cheated, blah, blah, blah. Then I do have to mediate and step in, and that sucks, right? But like I am the TO, so at the end of the day, there's sometimes where I have to, and that's kind of what you have to do with the whole like AJT thing, I assume, right? Like it was just like a whole thing.
It sucked. And honestly, I probably like overstepped a little bit, and I had to like apologize to my like the staff because like we had granted an extension. Usually, head judge deals with that, so I don't know how you like focus on your tournament. But I was on stream, and I'm like, my goal is like let's get next round up.
Yes,
that's so we like too. Granted. Yeah, and we granted the time extension because it seemed warranted based on the evidence we had. So, but that we moved on from that, and for the most part, like. The other argument is like, could you just do like end of phase? And I'll tell you, I don't know. I think it might have been New York. I don't remember what tournament it was. They went with like end of phase, and all it was constant arguing about when time was called.
Yep.
It was constant, like, oh, it was my battle phase. No, it was your draw phase. And like it's a he said, she said, and nobody can prove when anything, right? And then you got judges standing there for 50 minutes trying to de-escalate the whole situation. You can't prove when time was actually called, and then people are upset. So I wasn't about to deal with that either. I don't think that's a good alternative in my opinion. But
I'll tell you what I've been doing online. My online tournaments have had their own time rules. The Frazier time rules. I made these up for online. I swear. So I've been doing these for years now. My time rules are very simple. It's basically the Konami time rules before, where when time is called, finish the current turn.
Okay.
And that is it. Just finish this turn, and that is it. And so that's what I was doing. And that has been very fine, honestly, for every tournament that I've run in the last like 2 years. Finish the whole turn. So if time is called and you're in your main phase, just play. Just like play out this, but that's it. We're done. Like when it gets to the end phase, we're completely done. You get to get all the way to the end phase. You get to resolve any end phase effects. So like Android, if you have it for whatever, you get to do everything. But because the thing is, like you said, end of phase, I think is a little too specific. You cannot dictate when time was actually called, which is so annoying because some guy sitting there comboing off and he goes, as soon as he hears the buzzer, he goes attack. And it's like, well, that's not really how that works. No. You can't even get to battle phase without me. Right, exactly. So, and I've seen this in real life because the time rules have been like that for years. Like the end of phase time rules have been like that. So you will have people at YCSs going, they're doing their play, they're doing this and doing this and doing this. And then as soon as they hear Yu-Gi-Oh players that it's time, attack. Like they literally say, because they're like, oh fuck, I don't have any more time. So I was trying to get as much damage on the field as possible. Summon JD, summon Lumina, discard, bring back Wolf, Monster Incarnation, banish 2 for Sorcerer. They're trying to do everything. Time is called, they go into battle phase. It's like,
but also too, like the problem is too, when you do like end of turn or end of phase, that does not eliminate ties, it draws. And I'm gonna tell you, this, there's a lot of funny business that goes on in these events with draws and ties and all that. It is what it is. Yep. Everybody knows it. Yep. All the head judges know it.
Yeah. Okay. There's nothing they can do about it until now.
That's right. Until now. So now, and that's another thing too, because it does, these draws and ties really manipulate what top cut's going to be. You know, people kind of can get screwed out because of that. And, and it incentivizes players to just go, you know what, we're going to draw. There's no draws now. You can't do that.
Yeah, I love that.
So someone's going to play. So I think that's, ultimately, would you run an event with the new time rule?
If I did, I think I would do 60 minutes.
You go 60.
And this is why I would make it a disclaimer, because before my tournament starts, I post all of the this is how it's gonna go today. And I give people 30 minutes to just look at that, because I do signups close an hour before the tournament, and then an hour later. So if signups close at 12, the tournament starts at 1. Within that hour though, I post the tournament structure, end of round procedure, be polite to your opponent, we're not going for this, we're not going for that, everything that just etiquette, right? But in that, I also would say it's going to be 60 minutes, but we are not doing any discussion once the 60 minutes are up. If your round is not done and somebody hasn't clicked /loss, I'm just going to verify if there was a winner or not, and we're moving on. I don't want to hear about slow playing. You had 60 minutes to call someone. There's an @judge that you can tag. I'm not arguing, because you have to be Yu-Gi-Oh players. If you give them an inch, I know that they will take a fucking country mile. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh players are. You can't. I feel so bad for Jazz. He does these great tournaments where the players are allowed to schedule them with each other.
Oh, it's brutal.
Oh,
it's brutal.
It is awful. I actually screenshot and just save some of the fucking arguments that go on, because I find it so funny. And I always come back to my own personal Discord and I go, look at how ridiculous it is when you just have 2 people with 2 full days to schedule a match, and they just find a way to the most ridiculous things. I swear I've seen the most ridiculous excuses for why they couldn't schedule a match in 2 days. It's insane. You cannot let Yu-Gi-Oh players do it.
They have a week. And that's why I don't even play many weeks in War League, because it's brutal to try to get somebody to schedule a match.
Yeah.
And if they live on the moon, forget about it. The time zones are just crazy sometimes. Yeah. And I get it. It can be difficult, but I understand what you're saying. It's insane.
I cannot stand it. I think it's one of the, I don't know how Jazz has the patience and he really doesn't, which is the funny thing. Jazz, I love him, but I see how he gets really worked up sometimes, because people really push it, and they keep on stretching the rubber band until it eventually pops.
Oh, I'm at a YCS. I'm here.
My sister just had a baby.
Then don't sign up for the tournament if you can't play half of it.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Why'd you sign up if you knew that your sister was going to be in labor the next?
That's right. You're traveling across the world for a tournament, and you're not going to be here for 3 of the 4 weeks. Yeah. Hello.
It's so insane. I've screenshotted some of the responses, because I just think they're genuinely so out of pocket. But that, letting people schedule their own matches is just a whole different thing. And
it's insane.
I think with Yu-Gi-Oh players, I've learned, because I've been in this game for a long time, most of my life now, you just have to be super strict on certain policies. And I would give them an extra 10 minutes online, so that way every round is an hour. But if you can't finish in an hour, I literally, and I mean this, I don't want to hear anything. And I'm so serious about that part. I don't want to hear shit.
So it's very similar to what I had said earlier about maybe adding a few extra minutes. So if you want to add 2 minutes, you're talking 52 versus 60. It's essentially the same thing. But if you're gonna go any longer than an hour because the reality is it's 1 hour, and then an hour and 1 minute the next round's being posted with the bot.
That's what I would want. That's what I would want.
As a tournament organizer and running this event, I am not saying I would not use the new policy again. being a player, I understand why people are upset, but the reality is someone's going to be upset no matter what type of time rules you use. And people can abuse it either way. People, if you know what, if I'm in a losing position, I'm playing you, Frazier, I have no chance of winning this game. I'm looking at the clock. It's 49 minutes. I can sit here and dick around and draw it out and then just be spiteful and we both get a loss. People are going to do that.
I will say this. You're right. People, there are definitely, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, there are definitely people who are that spiteful to do that. Sure, I do say that the match is 50-50 though. Like if I'm sitting there and we got to 49 minutes, I am also partially to blame for this position in the first place.
You should have already said something to me, right? You should have already called the judge.
Yeah, bro. If 3 games, we're 3 games in and it's at the 49th minute and my opponent is choosing to be an asshole and going to drag us both down to the grave, that does suck. But I do think that something had to be going on in those other 49 minutes. And I probably was playing a little slow. If I'm taking accountability, if you just take accountability and stop blaming everything else on why you lost, because that's what Yu-Gi-Oh players love to do. It's just, they don't want to take accountability. Every reason they lost is either they got sacked or he stalled for time or whatever. It's always something that's outside of their control, right? If you just take accountability, 1, you probably misplayed. 2, you probably could have played faster. And if we watch the replay, which I love about DB, if you watch the replay, I bet I can see a turn where you took entirely too long to go set Raikou or summon Arm Wing and attack and hope that they didn't have Mirror Force. You took way too long to do it. You can start shaving off minutes if you watch the replay. I'm not going to do that because again, strict 60 minutes done. I'm not watching the replay to see if he took 3 minutes at the 27th minute. I'm not doing that.
No, because it's both players' responsibility, like you had said. Yeah. And again, people can be spiteful with any type of time rules. People are sidecking burn cards to do it. Like it doesn't matter. Ultimately, going to time is going to upset somebody.
Yep.
So the goal is don't go to time. Like I had said multiple times in the announcements. Yeah. Play faster, which 99% of people did. I honestly believe rounds were done in 35, 40 minutes. Like they were done in times that they should be because people said we both got to play fast. And it's not like they're playing in mistake. They're just playing at a reasonable pace because most people just don't do that, right? Checking graveyard 75 times. It's not necessary. Nothing's changed. You don't need to shuffle your hand 55 times. Just play. So I don't know. And I can imagine at these YCS that people are rolling dice all the time. I'm sure people are getting caught doing that. I'm sure it's against policy, but I'd imagine like, hey, we both about to take an L here. Let's just roll the dice. And I don't know. I'm guessing that's against policy, I'd imagine.
Oh, it 100% is. And I'm certain that you're right, that people are doing that. I haven't been to a Konami event since they fucked over Nationals this year for Ultimate Time Wizard. So I don't even know what it's like with the new time rules yet, but this is why I'm going to bring somebody on to do the conversation of in real life new time rules. It's been a while now to just get that perspective, but I'm certain whether they admit it or not, this is definitely going on. That's definitely happening.
And it can't really happen online because you'll see it. You know what I mean? If you're not in the chat, you can't police everything, I suppose. Whatever happens.
Right. You go to Discord, you guys have a side conversation on Discord, like whatever. Like I'm not the same way a judge can't see somebody rolling dice to determine who wins, or if you guys are going to use an app on your phone to flip a coin. There's like apps and stuff like that can do it. So it's a little bit more discreet than blatantly rolling a die in the middle of a round.
Yeah.
I'm sure players have found out a way, and they will find out a way to, get over this whole, I was going to win and I was going to win and I really should win. That's a whole different discussion too. Like that whole thing about who should win. I'm not going to get into that because that's a muddy thing, but play faster is the moral of the story. And thank you, Beast Mode.
No problem. No problem.
I appreciate you for coming by. Guys, subscribe to Beast Mode's channel. If you have any closing thoughts or words or anything,
I'm not completely opposed to the new policy. I think people should be a little bit more open-minded to it and understand from a TO. I know you guys aren't TO, but Frazier obviously runs tournaments. A few of us do. And if you want an event to get done quicker, I feel like the new policy is probably the way to go. As a player, I don't know. I haven't played with new policy, but I think I'd be able to finish 90% of my matches in 50 minutes, and I think that most players probably can do the same. So
yeah, in 2026, I'll say this: there's a lot of tournaments happening, right? There's a lot of different tournament circuits happening in 2026, and I would be okay with some of them trying the new Konami time rules, 50 minutes, end of thing. Both players lose. I do want to play an in real life tournament with those rules, but for online. I'm glad that we have the data from yours to know that it was 48 minutes on average, which is great, by the way. Yep. That's actually insane. 48 minutes on average, even with a hiccup one of the rounds or whatever, like a big mediator thing that you had to do.
Untimed top eight. 3
Untimed
matches
top
in top
eight.
8. Untimed.
beautiful. Niklas just 2-0 real quick in the finals, I believe.
Yeah,
Like it was
that helps too.
that does help, but
it
naturally it does. And naturally tournaments do speed up as they get closer to ending because there's just like less people. Just by virtue of there being less people. But thank you again, bro. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. This whole new time rules apply to online specifically. That's the conversation. The new time rules apply to online Yu-Gi-Oh! What are your thoughts? What would you tweak? What are suggestions that you might have for me and Beast Mode? We're not geniuses. We don't know everything, right? We're just out here trying to TO, host things for the community. We're just trying to do things for the community. That's our thing, right? And if we could make it better, we absolutely want to make it better. So what do you think? That's the name of this series, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Later.